Good morning. Welcome to my channel, Present Moment Magic. My name is Kelly Bowker, and I am having a walk this morning and thinking about my virtual retreat that I had yesterday. That was awesome. It went absolutely fabulous and wonderful. And I've been cutting it into pieces to put out on YouTube and kind of going through it. So as I was walking, I was thinking about something that came up yesterday at the retreat, and it was about the multiverse. Um, I I have been shown these different truths over the last year and a half. Um, Different things that uh, different things that would come to me. I call it pixie dust. Just all of a sudden, I would get this download, and I would have this knowing about something. And one of the days that that happened, or I think the first time that it happened, and it almost knocked me, it literally actually did knock me off my feet. I fell. Thank goodness the couch is right there. But when this knowing around, basically, they were showing me that I had a friend who was talking to me about, it was right at the end of COVID, and talking to me about the shortage of food. And, that basically like a doomsday kind of a thing. Absolutely love this friend, and we rarely talk about anything like this. But this particular day, she was stirred up about it. And so she was talking about it. And I started to feel this wave of energy. And so I hung up. And like I say, I stood up from my phone call with her, and then just the wave of energy hit me so hard that I collapsed across onto the couch. And then this thing just flew into my mind. And this happened almost a year ago. And what they showed me was, because I couldn't reconcile in my mind, how can I believe in my reality, unicorns and rainbows, and my friend is conjuring this other reality? How does that work? And I think about the Abraham stuff and them saying, you can't conjure or create for someone else. And that is true. What this download showed me was that, and it's a big concept, uh, that I'm creating my reality. And in my reality, I'm going to line up with a version of my friend who is living life in my world that's full of rainbows and unicorns, probably still with her beliefs. But I'm still going to have my friend, and I'm going to live my life of abundance and joy that I am creating. However, she's creating potentially this idea of this bad stuff happening. And so they showed me a trajectory, a timeline that she is experiencing what she's creating. She has a version of me that I'm not aware of, because remember, everything happens now. All time is now. And so any possible thing that we could dream up is happening now. They've showed me this infinite potential, infinite probabilities. It's almost being now supported by science, this idea of these infinite possibilities. So there is, if my thinking all of a sudden was to just go to crap, I could create a terrible future for myself if I wanted to. But I'm not planning on doing that. So anyway, so that came out all those months ago, and it's kind of been buzzing around in my head, and I've been trying to make sense of it. Just a couple days ago, I heard someone on YouTube do a really nice explanation of what the multiverse is. I'd heard that term, but I didn't really understand that. Basically, what it means is exactly what they showed me a year ago, or almost a year ago. And I was like, holy cow, they've been showing me this in so many different ways. This understanding that we can line up with what we choose in the present moment. I think about the Sarah Landon, her talking about that you can step out of free birth agreements, that no one signed up to have it be miserable, that doesn't have to be your reality. And So I'm walking along this morning and I'm thinking about a question that I got in my virtual retreat yesterday. And she said something like, I know I can't create for anyone else, but my husband is really struggling to have consistent work. And so I was just thinking about that. And all of a sudden, the guides just started to drop into my head that it isn't creating for someone else when you create your reality that has the people in it thriving and happy and whatever. You're creating your reality. So that made me think about an issue that's been going on in my family that I'm not going to go into. And I'm like, if I see this situation has resolved, if I see the joy and the happiness and the abundance and prosperity for these people in my life, that's going to be my experience of them. And they may be creating and be living the awareness of the crap show, but I don't have to know that. And I don't need to, and I don't want to. But that I can put my energy into seeing them in a certain way, knowing that that's coming and knowing that that's going to be my reality. Because haven't you always wondered that, you guys? How can we be joyful and happy and whatnot when the people that we love are creating crap? And honestly, I have lived it as well, because some years ago, my husband's back went to heck and he ended up having two back surgeries, right? One on top of the other. And he does cement foundations for a living. He has to have his back. So he just stepped away from his business. He's self-employed. He just stepped away from his business. So we were living this beautiful life, making, a good amount of money, plus my teacher income, which was probably at that time about $30,000 a year. And that was just the gravy on top. And all of a sudden, boom, everything falls to Kelly. We're going to live on $30,000 a year, and we've got the bills and the lifestyle that goes with the amount of money we made before. I mean, it was tough. And right around that time is when I found Abe Hicks. And the Abraham stuff really, really impacted me to a point. But it definitely, I just kept my focus on knowing that he was going to be fine, that he was going to, we were going to be affluent again, that we would live an abundant life, a happy life, a healthy life. And we are. And I didn't really know the dots and the gazintas about it as far as, exactly how and why it was working, but I knew that it was working. And now they have shown me that this is exactly how it works, that in this present moment, there are infinite timelines ahead of us. Well, we're not alone on those timelines. We're not alone. We're not going down this road of being completely by ourselves. Of course not. Our family and our friends are going with us. So when we see the joy and the abundance and the health and the wellness and the fun, when we see that life for those around us, we are creating. And when I really, as I was walking and they were giving me this wave after wave of knowing and urges to put this out to you folks, I'm like, how do you know that that's true? And they said, what makes the most sense? What makes the most sense? If I'm creating, and we have been promised this by every channel bringing through every non-physical entity out there, Cryon and Bashar, and all of them say the same thing in a little, maybe tiny different way, but it is, we create our own reality. We are powerful beings and we create our own reality. So how much sense does it make that I'm going to be able to be joyful rainbows and unicorns and my kids are wallowing in misery and despair? I'm going to be so humanly able to rise above it and just live my life and turn my face away from what's happening to my friends and family? I highly doubt that. So when they said, what makes the most sense? I'm like, it really does make the most sense. And I promise you that they have shown me this. I didn't get it. It's been like pieces of a puzzle that all of a sudden this morning, as I started on this walk, I'm like, holy cow, this is what they're talking about. This is exactly what they're talking about. So I'm going to just kind of recap. So to sum it up, it isn't that you're completely creating the other person's reality. You are creating your experience of reality. And the people who are in your reality, they will respond to the vibrational output of the timeline trajectory that you step onto. They will show up in that energy in that way. Holy cow, that's a big statement. Wowza. Wowza, wowza, wowza. But I mean, it certainly does make sense to me. And I again don't see, I see the only downside or result of believing that to be that I'm not going to be worried about the people around me because I know it's going to all work out. And this goes right back to the Sarah Landon thing of her guides saying people get in their head and they say, but what if this is for the highest good and that's for the highest good? It doesn't have to be. You only need those signposts to creation if you don't know how to do it. Once you know how to do it, you don't need that anymore. You have the knowing and you can rise above the hardships that are used to bring us back to center, to bring us back to God again, to our spirit. But if you don't need those roadblocks, you don't have to experience them. And so there can just be a beautiful sense of settling into the knowing and being confident as you move forward that everything is going to work out for the highest good and that your experience will be exactly what you want it to be. And I'll keep you posted on how it's working in my life. And for heaven's sakes, definitely keep me posted down below. Give me a message. I love our messages. And if you have any questions you'd like me to take to the guides, don't hesitate to ask. Subscribe to my channel if you can. I would love that. And have a blessed day.